Hello there. It looks like the government might be ordering us all back home again this Christmas, thanks to changes in the you-know-what. As per usual, please like, subscribe and comment below. And when subscribing, please do press that little bell, but also select the all option, or you won't get any notifications when I publish a new video. Well, that's another promise potentially broken by the government. We were told that if we all went along with the plan and had 1, 2, buckle my shoe, and now 3 or even 4 and you're out the door, our lives would return to normal. And that was the plan. Yes, that's right. If we were good little boys and girls, we were told that our ministers would give us a pass and allow us all outside to play. But the emerging news has got our ministers and advisers worried, so they are now mulling over whether or not to keep their promise of a free roaming Christmas so we can go and eat each other's free-range turkeys. But it seems that the plan may not have quite worked out the way intended, so we may have to follow the science much more diligently in future. And many, many more of the naughty boys and girls will have to stop sitting idly at the back of the room avoiding the teacher and come to the front of the class, get involved and raise their arms. Or else the whole class will have to stay behind, with the requirement that we may once again be forced to have to put off our plans of spending the festive season with enough people around the table to pull a box of crackers and polish off those mince pies. And if the EU ends up shutting down, I would surmise that their best buddy in the UK, our Nicola, will come out in sympathy and order the same in Scotland. After all, she has to be seen to be taking her lead from Brussels, not Westminster. Anyway, our ministers and their advisers do not want to have to resort to such heavy-handed actions, so the message is clear. All those naughty boys and girls would be advised to get their science homework completed up to volume 3 in the next few days or so, and then promises of no backsliding as we progress through to volumes 4, 5, 6, 7 and then onwards as required. After all, you don't want to fail your science classes and get a detention, do you? Now, once again, the French President Emmanuel Macron has followed his standard operating procedure of throwing a strop. But before I get to that, I just want to say a massive thank you to all my Super Thanks, Patreon and PayPal supporters, as well as those that do buy a mug with my mug on it. Links in the descriptions box below. You really do help me keep this channel going. Now, if someone had told you yesterday that President Macron of France was about to throw another wobbly because of Brexit UK, you'd have said, what's new? Because that reaction is now his standard operating procedure in the run-up to the French presidential elections next May. He has to be seen to be stern with les rosbeefs, or his voters will think he is weak and reject him. And this time it concerns the recent tragic events off the French coast. This incident sparked a flurry of political and diplomatic activity between the UK and France. But the French wanted to heap all the blame on the UK and basically keep things as they are, because the current situation seems to suit them quite nicely. But the UK Prime Minister Boris Johnson sent President Macron a letter. And once that letter hit Emmanuel's in tray, all hell was let loose in the Elysee Palace, and much blowing of stacks ensued. You can imagine him stood there, fuming and doing a gurning gargoyle Greta, screwing up his face and screaming, "How dare you!" One wonders if the French bureaucrats have to keep the windows open to more easily let the steam escape. Anyway, the result was that the UK Home Secretary Priti Patel was banned from attending the meeting scheduled for this weekend to get to grips with this problem, involving her and her opposite numbers from France and other interested EU member states. That is to say, she has been uninvited from the party. And how stupid to eject from the room the representative of the one country that can give any meaningful input and help. Because one suspects that the other EU countries are more than happy for France, then the UK, to be the lead hosts for the problem at hand. But Macron is Macron. So, what atrocities lay within that missive from Boris? What insults had he levelled at the French President to warrant such a Teddy's out-of-cot reaction? Well, the UK Prime Minister had the temerity to lay out 5 proposals for some well-thought-through plans to defeat the huge scale of the organised criminality we now face with people trafficking. And here's a flavour of what Boris wants Macron to consider. Joint or reciprocal maritime patrol operations in each other's territorial waters. Although if memory serves, our border force has already been engaged in that particular activity at the behest of the French for quite some time now. Deploying more advanced technology including ground sensors and radar. Yes, ground sensors, not mining the beaches as some wags suggested. Reciprocal airborne surveillance by manned and unmanned aircraft, perhaps flying under joint insignia. Ah, the RAF Roundel patrolling the French skies once more. But they were more welcome the last time, as I understand it. Deepening the work of our joint intelligence cell with better real-time intelligence sharing to deliver arrests and prosecutions on both sides of the channel. Have we got joint intel with the French? If we have, it appears to be very disjointed at present. But it all sounds like very positive proposals to me. But Boris also put in his letter that he wants one of his previous proposals to be reconsidered. That of putting UK boots on the French beaches to assist the French security forces in dealing with this matter. And Boris said we stand ready to commence this work next week, putting Macron right on the spot. So in our normal neighbourly way, the UK is offering to help the French out of a hole of their own digging. But they've still not forgiven us for assisting them twice last century, it seems, and Macron threw his wobbly. But while doing so, he turned his nose up and said, I am surprised when things are not done seriously. We are not whistleblowers. So what did he mean by that? I mean, whistleblowers do things for the best of intentions, don't they? Or was Macron just miffed that Boris had blown the gaff to the world, offering Macron solutions that would make him look bad on the international stage if he rejected them? After all, wouldn't any president of France want to do all they can to help save lives? But Boris also made reference in the letter he sent yesterday to a letter he sent earlier this year in June. Now, I did a quick search and looked back through the PM's Twitter feed and can find no reference to that June letter, although it may be out there. I just haven't found it if it is out there. Or it might be classified. But Boris said in his latest letter that he had warned back in June that the British and French people would be asking questions if such an event as just happened did occur. Maybe Macron doesn't like that being pointed out on a global scale. Maybe Macron believes that international diplomacy should be conducted behind closed doors and in secret, just like it does in the EU Council and Commission. But what Boris has done is laid out concrete proposals, and Macron might now have nowhere to go but to agree to them. But why would he not agree? After all, if the trafficking stops, then France will not be so much of a target for those wanting to get to the UK, because that route would be cut off. But national pride and all that. So what's your opinion on potentially staying at home and Macron and his serial wobblies? Please like and comment below.